Mark Garrow, PRN, over here in the corner. You start off with the Daytona 500 for a non-top 35 car. It's maybe the hardest race to qualify for the whole season. Can you talk about that, and or do you have a plan afoot to get some points and grab a guaranteed spot?
At this point in time, if we need to qualify, we'll qualify. That's that. I mean, I have a lot of faith in the team, and that's why I chose them. And they worked hard to make that happen as well. It's not just a one-way street. But it's, you know, that was part of the reasoning, is they're a really good team. Obviously, I mean, Tony's running for the championship these last 3 races, so. I mean, I don't have any doubt that the car will be fast enough, and so if we need to qualify, we will. And if that doesn't happen, then we'll use the duels, right? No, yeah. I'm learning. There's something else before it, and I didn't want to mix them up with the other races.
Dave?
Yeah, Tony, Dave Rodman, NASCAR.com. If the crew chief selection is not done yet, where's that process at, and what role will Danica play as far as selecting that person, please?
We're in that process right now, actually. You know, it's like we've talked about it. The higher up in the organization you get, the fewer people there are, and it's trying to find the right fit. And, you know, I guess as a driver, I know, and I've been lucky enough to just have 2 crew chiefs over my Cup career, but it's very much a marriage, and it's finding the right personalities to work together. And so, you know, we have half of that equation, and it's just we are trying to find the right crew chief that's going to be the right fit for right now, and work with Ryan and myself and our crew chiefs. So, you know, I would love to say that I had all that done already, but it's still a work in progress. But that process has started.
Okay.
Wolfgang Monzer from Germany, Ranchport Press Agency. Question for you, Danica. Also from next year onwards, you will be now focused in the NASCAR business. In long or in short-term future, is there maybe a little possibility you do some maybe selected appearance in open-wheel IndyCar racing again?
Select as in maybe Indy 500, but that's it. And I'd like to do that, but we don't know yet.
Go ahead, Claire.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. I think everybody wanted you to race this Daytona 500, so it's really exciting. But from both of you, that is such a huge attention race. And does the thought enter that putting you in your first race with all that attention will be really, really tough? Or do you feel like you get so much attention anyway?
It was either that or Darlington. You made a great decision, Tony.
Tony?
No, I got a chance to run with her in July at Daytona in a nationwide race, and she did a great job. I mean, and I think that was part of the reasoning that we felt more comfortable taking her down to the 500. I mean, obviously it's our biggest race of the year, so the exposure that GoDaddy will get and you know, the whole organization will get is huge. But she's ready for that. I mean, it's, you know, the Daytona and Talladega races are a different animal anyway, but the way that she ran the July race at Daytona gave me the confidence that Daytona wasn't too soon, that she'll be able to do a good job. And, you know, if we do our jobs and build her a car that's fast enough, we won't have to worry about racing our way in through the qualifiers. But if so, she's got 2 teammates that'll do everything they can to get her in there. So, you know, like I said, she did a good enough job that's what gave us the confidence that Daytona was okay to start with.
Dean McNulty, Toronto Sun. Danica, you talked just a little bit about testing. Will you be able to get into the Cup car any place on a test track before Daytona?
Boss?
Yeah, I have plans to do that. I mean, we don't know exactly where it's going to be at yet, but it's definitely advantageous for us to, and just for little things like getting your seat, getting pedals, just little things that really don't necessarily make the race car go faster, but it's little things that you don't want to have to do at the racetrack. So if nothing else, just going for a couple days and just if we can get that crew chief lined out sooner than later, it's a good opportunity for them to get working together and get their communication in order and just get those little fine details that you don't want to have to worry about at Daytona. It's going to be a busy enough schedule, obviously, for her when she gets down there, so you try to get some of those variables out of the equation before you get down there.
Okay, Lewis.
Lewis, Frank Reuters. Danica, you've run 500 miles before, but next year you got at least 3 opportunities to run 800 miles and in different cars. So how do you approach that, something new, being in 2 different cars in one weekend?
Some of these races are 800 miles?
Well, you got nationwide and...
You mean 800 miles of practice on a weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah, NASCAR has some pretty big ideas,
Well,
but that's not it yet. So.
Let's not let them have that idea for sure. I heard that you put snacks in the car, and I thought that was a joke. But is that true? Do some people put no? Okay.
I don't put snacks. I load up before the race. So I eat more than your body weight is before the race, so I can make it.
Vanilla wafers.
Oreos.
Oh.
I shouldn't be telling that because Carl will be
Sorry.
loading up on them this weekend now. But
Do you twist them or do you
no, I don't
dunk
waste the
'em?
energy. I just go right to the
just
mouth.
go in?
Yeah.
One bite or two?
One. It's all about being efficient. So.
Well, it's going to be lots of miles, and I think that's the point. Is especially a place like Darlington. Tony Jr. was talking to me about. We were kind of talking about the races and which ones and why you would do ones and why you wouldn't do others, and he explained that sometimes the Cup guys do nationwide races at tracks that they might just want laps, like just a lap track, which he used the example. Darlington's one of those, would just get more laps, the better. And then sometimes they do them for races that they just think are fun, where they're going to have a good time doing it. But in my situation, I need to do laps. I need more laps at difficult tracks. And so I hope that helps. I hope that I've heard it can get a little confusing between the two cars, but. I didn't know the difference between the old car and the new car in the Nationwide series, so I don't know what that means, but I guess ignorance is bliss sometimes, maybe.
And Marty? Marty Smith, ESPN, for both of you. I noticed no Brickyard. Is that one of the two races you're contemplating, and if not, why did you choose not to run Indy?
Well, the great thing is nationwide races at the Brickyard. So that's cool to get that experience and run there. Somebody actually asked me that question if I was going to run there, and I was like, wow, that's a good question. I kind of didn't really, I evaluated the whole season by idea, but I suppose I think of tracks that I haven't been to, and I think of tracks that I'm not visually familiar with, and I'm not familiar with the way that the car handles, which I won't know how the car handles because I'm, used to not lifting there, but, oddly enough, when we came to your shop a long time ago, I saw some data from Indianapolis, so I think I've got that memorized in my head. It's never mind, but I don't know. What do you think about it?
Now, like we said, you had to sit down and look at the schedule and try to think of what were the best opportunities to get her the best experience, and it wasn't. We weren't trying to be disrespectful to Indy by any means, but it's a track that she already has a ton of laps around, so she knows that place inside and out. We wanted to take her to tracks that she hasn't been to, tracks that we know historically take longer to learn than just one race. So, having that opportunity for her to run a nationwide car and a Cup car in a weekend at some of these tracks is a big advantage, going into a full-time schedule. So it wasn't that we didn't want to take her to the Brickyard, and it doesn't mean that we still may not. But at the same time, the races that we selected were very well thought out, and for the reason of just saying we know that historically it takes longer to learn at these tracks than others, so that's why we chose them.
Dave, do you have one?
Yeah, Tony, with a lot of these things being day-to-day and liquid situations, Mark Martin announced his deal for next year this morning. Have you and your group set a backline date up to which you can consider running this 10 car in more than Danica's 10 race schedule?
Well, we're still hopeful that days like today will, spark interest in doing that. It's very advantageous for us to go ahead and run that team full time next year if at all possible. So, our group at SHR hasn't given up on that opportunity. I don't know that we'll really set a drop dead date. We're going to do everything we can until we feel like that we're at a point where we can't. But I'm not sure that we've actually said that we haven't set that date. So, having GoDaddy on the car obviously is great for the 10 races next year and for 2013. We had a great announcement earlier this week, and we still have 8 races on Ryan's car. We have some associate-sponsored races on Danica's cars left. So, it's still a work in progress, but it's, I would love to be able to say, yeah, we could make that deal happen sooner than later also. But it is our goal to try to do everything we can to run this car full time. I think that's best case scenario for the organization, just to have those guys and that group in place and have them working every week. So we're putting the full court press on that right now.
Bob Hock, Christine Daly. Danica, you had such a good time, it sounded like, at Daytona in July at the nationwide race. Can you talk just about running there and making your debut there? Is it a track that you feel comfortable with? And also, I mean, any chance there's a test there in 2 weeks? Or can you get her in that test there in 2 weeks?
I didn't even know there was a test there until somebody said something about it yesterday, actually. I didn't know there was a test there in 2 weeks. But I don't think we have plans to go to that yet, but we obviously will look at it, and if at all possible, we'd love to take her.
Yeah, I mean, it's Daytona's a very cool place, and you can definitely feel the history, and it's enjoyable to run there. It's definitely a different kind of racing, but it's a lot of fun, especially when you have a good partner, and especially when you go to the front. So, you know, I don't know if I completely feel like bump drafting is a natural thing, but especially being the one pushing because you just can't see. But the process is interesting, and I like it, and it's something different, and I feel comfortable there. And I think that the summer race was a really good turning point for me, feeling comfortable, really comfortable at a track. And I know when I went there at the beginning of the year in February, not everyone really bump drafted, and some of them kind of figured it out as the race went on, but it was pretty clear by the end of that if you weren't bump drafting, you were not going to have a chance to win. And so I knew that going back for the summer race, that was going to be mission number one, was to get comfortable doing that and get good at doing that. And Eric, my teammate Eric Almirola, he said that, okay, so I'll get out there and I'll start pushing. I'm like, can I just have one lap, because I haven't been in the car since Vegas. So I go around one lap, and I managed to put Tony's beautiful, perfect car in the wall in turn one on the second lap, start of the second lap, but caught on to it. And, you know, like I said this earlier, but I think Tony and I ran really well. I mean, I thought we were the fastest cars out there. So, you know, that's always exciting. It's always good to look forward to, and it's nice to do well at places like Daytona.
Any other questions? All right, there are a lot of you, so what we'll do, we'll spread the director's chairs apart a little bit. We will make both Danica and Tony available for some one-on-ones. Please be considerate of your fellow journalists. There's a lot of you in a very small space down here in front of us. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate your time.